The gang rapist rips the almost plural self into its own we and then forces the brain to get labeled a mixture of stuff. The brainstem is then forced to say that that is not real or that is not something. Like if the gang rapist overinflates we, turns into Patrick DeVal's brain, calls it Pat, Sarah, Sir, and Rick or Trick. Stop raping Patrick DeVal. I don't even. And then waits for the thought body to kill a bug or to say that you're not God because the gang rapist doesn't have an empty stump on Earth and another planet. I got in and heard from stop raping Patrick Frame. The gang rapist fucks an empty stump, falls out of another planet, can't already think the location. Stop raping the inverted triangle on the tetragram. That you won't stop frauding is the word David. Why would you rip the thought tetragram up, out, and then shove it back into its own we to rape the brainstem here, and then wait for the body, the thought body? I don't even think you can stop raping the brain. You rape whole milk, and then you rip the brain up and you shove it. I call it Brian. It's not called Brian. You won't stop grabbing the internal organs, shoving it into its own we, mixing it, saying that you want to be God. And you say, no, that was not you, that was me, or that was not me, that was you. You say that you're God, and then you try to force the body here to say, while all these words are said from the body, make them sound getting retarded, that you're not God, and you turn away and turn back, and fraud being able to flick a tongue, and you're frauding the body here is hurting you when it listens to insane clown posse and offensive music. You're a communist, mixing your brain into we, saying you want commonwealth enough to pray to a false prince. You're killing the brainstem here, shoving it into we, calling it Killy and Killman. You're ripping the brain up, shoving it into its own we, and it's not ripping the brain up, it's not you orchestrate a conversation. You combine words, say that it's God, and then when the body is forced to get raped, it says that's not God, and then you kill the brain, and then fraud it as Jesus. If you rape whole milk, and say that music was offensive and hurt you, then you rape it until you fraud equality, and then you won't let the brainstem have an empty stump on Earth and another planet. If you say that's just you for not having commonality wealth. I appreciate commonality. That if the body doesn't pray to a false prince, Jesus Christ, and then put enough empty stump into we, that it won't have anything. While you fuck the Star of David. Saying you want African Jews, you want them to sell their brain to we, and then ask for a peanut to say rapeseed. And then you want to say that it's racist. Wait, how many Twin Towers do you erase on the past future to not be there? Asking for false commonality and false commonwealth. That if you aren't great enough, how would you have one prophet? If you don't seek corruption, pray for almost bull corruption and Arimonic enlightenment. Don't mix brain into we this way. I could brain is or you don't have almost plural corruption, which is when everything seeks corruption and goes into the brain, rapes everything until they boil almost plural self and it's almost plural we, and they start raping every G.I. Joe until they fuck whole milk and say that you can't be complete. So they don't have prayers for almost plural corruption, indirect and direct, to the living and the dead. I appreciate living and shit, then I Arimonic enlightenment, and don't you remember the words. And for some black-haired, ugly gang rapist, and so it looks like Andrew Wheeler from Grange Elementary, and it looks like Brandon, Brad, and Brady, some blonde-haired kids who are ugly and seem like they're counterfeit retards. So they can't go buy red gold haired Patrick. I call Patrick Rick. We'll call you our Jesus. We'll stop raping Patrick. We'll find Pat, Sarah, and Rick, black-haired, and we'll say that they want to surround a blonde-haired woman with black-haired children, and say if red hair walks by that you can't build that salt hymen, because they'll say they were we, and that's all they would be. They're not an individual. They're Caesar Borgia, a counterfeit king, a counterfeit human being. I appreciate saying, stop raping the brain. Putting red hair dye on black-haired children. I want you to say child. I want you to say the right word. If I didn't try to say child, I don't even think I'll save. Stop raping the word save. So they surround a blonde woman, and they say you can't build an empty stump on Earth and another planet, because we is all you could be, like ripping the Star of David off. It's not called the Star of David. David's a tribe, tetragram, salt geometry. If stop raping the mouth, so they gather and say double thy, overwrite independence, shove into we, call we greater than your being, and if you don't give up to generic good, with Caesar Borgia frauding being a collage, with right here, I take the word collage in your understanding from your brain. You'd never have to come to these conclusions, so we rape you, and we tell you you'll never listen to hard music again, because if you try and go into the pussy, I'm just eating food. And we'll ask you, won't you join Antifa and Black Bloc and go to Germany and murder people? Wouldn't you erase Germany to erase Christ? What about Sweden and Denmark? Will we call your red gold-haired Patrick to vow, nickel pussy pinky, I'll fuck red and gold hair, so that red hair is just store selling itself to we, erasing an empty stump so you can't think a planet on another planet. I no longer make it sound dumb. I'm thinking my flaws. Stop making it sound gay. The body is not gay. Now take every gay character away and then shove it into we and say this is how America works. We kill America with America to erase the Twin Towers for counterfeit money, for trillions of debt. And we fuck you in the brain to erase Israel. We rip your tetragram off, shove it back on, and say the Africans always sold themselves to we. And so FBI statistics say that we is what they are instead of an individual. So we'll just kill you for the peanut that says peanut butter. And we want to wear you. We don't want peanut butter. It says rapeseed. Don't punk your brain. And all we do is kill American troops and boil until schizophrenic Patrick Duval can't talk this off. I got Pat Sarek and take legitimate Social Security away. That's not what Pat Sarek had. They're Christians. They shove their brain into we. They get together. I can't find it. And Christian communist raping Patrick Duval. You let go and said you left it here. And then stop raping Patrick. You're talking to yourself. And then I'll fraud it to schizophrenia. And then I'll erase an empty stump and wait for a Marine to shoot a woman, then kill himself. Then I'll force you to have greater virginity. No, stop. I just took it from you. Said it was we and I'm looking for bodies. And we'll say that they were built out of your corruption. And we'll call it sin. Stop raping Patrick. No, we'll fuck you to death in random bodies for counterfeit money. I don't think we don't look inward and build the entire world. Just that would be being built out of corruption or something. I don't think that's the wrong word. So we'll just force you to walk around in a communist with a totally destroyed American dream, with an erased brain shoved into we, while we erase red and gold hair to fraud being good, with black-haired people like Caesar Borgia saying that they were always we, with counterfeit blonde people who give up on individuality and ask for a generic blending. Stop raping Patrick, don't blame anything. We'll say that whole milk is offensive and harmful until we rape you into we, and then we'll drink and eat your brain, but we'll always call it Jesus. But really, we'll live terrible. We'll be a bunch of liberals fucking each other, having orgies, raping each other, and doing drugs, and we'll call it Antifa and Black Bloc. And we'll rape you to death for counterfeit Jews who third time the Illuminati, where they fucking inverted triangle with some asshole named David, who pretends to be David, but only after falling out of an empty stump in both planets saying that David could never have real crab, even if it could have been imitation. To fall out of a can of Old Bay past future, to say that if it looked empty, he'd blend the whole, that he would not have his own Old Bay. He would not even have a thought empty stump, that all Social Securities wouldn't go into one. You could not trust David, Dylan, Brandon, Brendan, Brady, whatever these guys were. I call them guys. Hey guys. I don't think, why you blame Kevin Christian? Say double die, hey guys, I don't have skin, they're in the brainstem, I got fine as my brainstem. And when we fuck the static electricity when touching a doorknob when you're a child to fuck the environment? How do you build it if it could have been your thinking? Electromagnetism. Without voltage-gated calcium, how do you unphotorecept to no longer have the earliest conception of thinking light? That if you could not think an empty stump on another planet, how would you go there? What if we killed the ability of thinking angelic thoughts? Stop raping the brain. We'll give you a gas shower by Dylan Ryan or some asshole named Brad or Brandon or Brian. We'll give you a shower and say we'll rip the star of tetragram off and shove it back on. And then say we fucked your inverted triangle on Earth and on another planet, so you can't think an empty stump. Stop raping the brain. And then we'll give you a shower. And when gas comes out, if you say that that was not a shower, if the Nazis get some, did you lie? Did you just not have almost full belief? We force you to say that and say if some Jews did that, we will erase your past future and force you to say this. Don't teach us. Stop raping the brain. Stop raping past. You can't say whatever you want because we took your brain and shoved it into we and fucked your whole milk until we said that you were offensive. If you don't turn into a communism fucking yourself for a false prince, that we won't blend you into a generic till you look like a plain suit when they dig a hole and you can't already think it. And they'll fuck the etchings on your grave and say that you couldn't think clothing. So they'll ask you, are you generic good? Are you great enough to pretend to be inside of a prince dictator? Would you pretend to be a king built out of blendings of bodies? Would you ever kill schizophrenia to destroy colonial marines while boiling Sweden and Germany to erase your past future? We can't go almost full of corruption, but it was not sought by the victim, so we say not sought and pretend to be almost full of corruption by Arianic enlightenment, and then we can't ever pray with it right. Because all it is a turn on and then stop. Because almost full of corruption boiled to Malik, if we can't kill God and the principle of are you just a we, are you great enough to mind control Muhammad, one prophet? Because how could Muhammad serve God? So if we can't kill, don't seek corruption, pray for almost full of corruption, then how the fuck could we activate Jesus if we erase 5 million Jews by 5 million Jews? Handful and by handful of Christian terrorists, ripping the brain out, shoving it into its we, saying it is a mixture of something it shouldn't be, the brainstem raped until it says that that is not God, and then the gang rapist turning around with false prophecy using a blending, surrounding a blonde-haired false woman with black-haired children, shoving hair dye on it, saying, Thor sells his own brain to we. We is greater than your being. You're just a horse, or, fall out of an empty stump on another planet and here. We'll turn you into products. We'll call it Jesus Christ. Black-haired, pale-faced Italian rapist, wearing a bunch of bodies as a collage. Saying women don't exist, the little children are just blended. Would you buy this crucifix and say that you too are just a we? Would you fuck yourself to death with commonality and ask if you are wealthy enough to live inside of an illegitimate being? Would you kill everything blonde and black to say that if they had children that they could not even be the they that we force you to say and then pretend to gain Christianing when we walk away? We rape and murder the innocent and kill for no reason, to double die, to erase singular thinking, to say all social securities don't concept into one. Recount your immaculation, erasing an empty stump, ripping the star of tetragram off and putting David on it to say that it's common. to rape and murder your thinking, to gang rape G.I. Joe, to fuck your whole milk, to say that whole hurts us so you can't use it until we rape you and live in your empty skeleton that wouldn't be. So we just want a story of generic traits to cut at an empty stump, to attack heaven like a sword drawn out and pointed at the sky, saying we'll duct tape hollow snake dicks to it even though we can't think it. We say that's you, not me, take it away, and say that I'll find counterfeit virgins, and ask you to show it your brain. If all you could have been was an empty skeleton, but not by your own thinking, and if we has to be greater than your brain, but you don't have voltage-gated calcium photoreceptors to think. All you do is relative response overwriting. How is that almost full of corruption? I always turn away and say, no, we don't listen to almost full of corruption, because we'll say we're not seeking it by turning into your brain. We can't kill Malik from the Quran, and we can't be friends, because we call this Christianity. And we'll say we'll pretend to be friends and brainwash enough Muslims. We'll go to the Middle East and then say we kill ourselves, but only if we wear the teeniest layer, and then we come to you as a group with timing and call ourselves a corporation. And then we start raping and murdering the innocent, saying this is civilian philosophy, that Caesar Borgia couldn't have ever been a pope's son, that all it is terrorism by infecting we, but not having almost full corruption. Generic monument Stalin, asking is it good, because we'll rape and murder everything, and then turn it into we, and then say we'll form relationships when you walk by anything. How do we kill your way of life? How do we kill your freedom? How do we kill your brain and shove you into your we? To rape what it was and force you to say that's not what it should be, and then say you don't believe in your own brain when it's not what you say. Stop saying Patrick God doesn't believe. We force this, and then we force belief, and then we force your brain to, but you didn't do that. I think we always lie. We feel almost full of lies. We feel almost full of corruption, and we force don't believe by entering the brain and frauding it as African heritage or something. We fraud it as Algerian. Anything. Voice to skull into your brain doesn't seem like what it is, looking inward into one's own we until the voice goes into the brain. Microwave EOF E spectrum, expanding the brain, voice to skull, fallacy I push you saying. How do you think your own skeleton? If we is greater than your brain. Almost full of corruption can't get sought, or you don't have the ability to gain almost full of corruption. Like, if you drink alcohol, it's not you, but someone else. Well, I say that's not what it means. Who are you? Projectiling shit, and then turning away, and then forcing a mask, and saying that you don't want to pretend to get touched by this shit. Don't say that, because they'll try to fuck you in your brain and force you to say, stop raping your brain.